Hi guys, and welcome back to another week of TFW, the football show dominated by all of your opinions and presented by me and my trusty laptop. Damn it, it's not a laptop, it's an iPad. Take two. Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of TFW, the football show dominated by all of your footballing opinions and hosted by myself and this trusty iPad. Right, let's get straight into the first one of your wild and wonderful opinions. Sabir Ismail has said, everybody is sleeping on Arsenal. People are talking about how United and Chelsea are closing the gap on the top two, but if Oba signs the new deal and Arsenal get the defence sorted, they have a real chance to get top four. Whew, okay, three things about this. Firstly, nobody's sleeping on Arsenal, but the fact they've won the FA Cup doesn't necessarily take them to a higher level where they should be talked about a lot more. In my opinion, it's not like they've done something absolutely outrageous. You know, they won the FA Cup, they did really well. It was a brilliant performance, especially from Aubameyang. But yeah, I don't think anyone's sleeping on them. Everyone knows that they have had a poor season, but they could be better. People talking about United and Chelsea closing the gap. Of course, because they're the ones who finished closest to the top two in Liverpool and Manchester City. Of course, you're going to talk about how third and fourth can then attack second and first, because they are the ones who finished there. I mean, Arsenal, who's talking about them challenging the top two when they finished 8th. Yes, if Aubameyang signs a new deal, they'll be a lot better. We've seen he's their talisman. Getting their defence sorted is it's easier than it sounds. That is a massive, massive thing. I don't think Arsenal are, a sort of Van Dijk signing in defence away from the top two. There's a few more issues to be sorted out. In the midfield, maybe, can they get Ceballos more permanently or at least another loan for next season? What's going to happen with Guendouzi? Is Xhaka good enough? Is Ozil still going to be there? They've got a few youngsters who are good in cameos. Are they ready to consistently perform over 38 games in the Premier League? There's a few more questions than just sign a good defender or two and then Arsenal will be top. But certainly things are heading in the right direction for Arteta, definitely. Preges Jane, the next up, has said Inter should let Conte stay for 3 to 5 years to bring them back to glory. Love from Milan. This is a rather interesting one because Preges, I'm not quite sure whether this was before or after Antonio Conte decided to rant to some Italian media about how he hadn't been backed or defended by the board. And he basically kind of burnt quite a few bridges in that one interview. So much so that I'm not so sure whether Conte will be in charge, even for the Europa League tie against Getafe on Wednesday or Thursday, I believe. He's really, as I say, burnt some bridges. 3 to 5 years, I think Inter may be closer than that. They've got a very, very good team. Certainly in terms of challenging Juventus. They finished the season just 1 point behind Juve. Yeah, they did slip towards the end, but still, they had a very good run into Milan. And I'm not so sure Conte will stay. If he goes, it's either Allegri or Pochettino, apparently, in the running for the job. And I think with Allegri, they'd probably be able to win something immediately. With Pochettino, he could build for 1 or 2 more years, but certainly I think he's got more chance of winning something there than he ever did at Spurs. Talk about not being backed by your chairman. Navi Ahmed has said, unpopular opinion, Juventus will lose the second leg to Lyon. Lyon fought hard against PSG. On the other hand, Juventus are only getting worse. 3-1 loss against Roma. Again, I keep on saying this, guys. You can't just point to one game as evidence for a whole season. Juventus might lose to Lyon, absolutely right. Saying they'll definitely lose when they've got a 1-goal turnaround. Lyon, I think they finished 7th or 8th, have been very poor this season, and the loss to PSG in the cup final just sort of sums it up. Have definitely not been at their best and probably are one of the worst teams left in the competition. And, it sounds stupid, but yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo is Mr. Champions League. And if anyone's going to turn it around for Juve, it will be him. And in fact, he was rested for the defeat against Roma. Yes, they had a defeat before that as well. They've lost the last 2 games, I think, Juve. But just to point to those two when they're champions and say that they're getting worse, significantly worse enough to lose to Lyon is a bit of a stretch. Jiffin Johnson, actually, still talking about Juve, said, will Juventus take over Jimenez? Take over, I think you mean sign, maybe ahead of Manchester United. So Raúl Jiménez, at Wolves. I'm not so sure. He's a great player. He'd be a good player for Juventus. Do they need him, firstly? If they sell Higuain, potentially, there's still Ronaldo, still Dybala as well. And neither of those two are going to be happy sitting on the bench. Jimenez is going to sit on the bench, where he's an integral part of a very attacking, very exciting Wolves team, who are only looking like they're going to get better and better and challenge the top 6 more and more in the next few years. Would he really want to leave? I mean, obviously Juventus is a massive club and it's a huge draw to go and play for them and play in the Champions League. I'm not so sure whether he'll leave or not, and I'm also not sure whether Juve would pay whatever it is, 50, 60 million that Wolves want for a bench player. That would be the deciding factor. TDM next up said, hottest opinion, Van Dijk isn't in the top 10 centre-backs in the world at this moment. That's not a hot opinion. Nobody thinks that. I can't see what he does that makes him so brilliant. I mean, this isn't actually, this probably isn't just you saying that. It is very difficult to see what defenders do so well, especially when they're in such a dominant team. Like, you can see what Van Dijk does in a one-on-one situation. If you were to watch any Liverpool game, you know, a large percentage of them where they dominate the ball, Van Dijk is recycling possession after winning it back off a striker. You're not going to see him do too much, but that's because they're such a good team. So you're not going to see him make an insane amount of tackles and last-hit challenges and blah, 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 because the opposition aren't going to get close enough to him because the rest of the Liverpool squad is so good. Isn't in the top centre-backs in the world. I'm trying to think of even 5 centre-backs who are better than Virgil van Dijk at the moment. If anyone can name me 5 who are better than Van Dijk, I'd be amazed. And without any bias or without doing it for the sake of it and saying, oh, someone's been quite good this season. No. All in all, form and quality, aside from Sergio Ramos, potentially Varane, who is better than Van Dijk? I don't know. I'll leave it to you guys. Anyway, SJXE has said, Pulisic is clear of Pépé. Since the restart, yes. Nicola Pépé, I know he came for a lot of money, not necessarily his fault. Only sort of 10 million more than Pulisic did, by the way, who took a long time to get into his rhythm and his form at Chelsea. I'd say he's clear at the moment on form, but not clear in terms of quality. Pépé has some real quality. I think if you see that come through, he'll definitely be one of the best wingers in the league. Pulisic is just actually doing it at the moment. So yeah, form-wise, he is clear. Ethan Horner said, unpopular opinion, I think Burnley's goalkeeper Nick Pope deserves more praise as he had 15 clean sheets and 120 saves this season. PS, love the videos. Thank you, Ethan. Although an unpopular opinion isn't unpopular just because you don't think so. It sounds like you didn't realise Nick Pope was very good, and now that you think he is, it's become unpopular. I think everyone knows how good Nick Pope is. He was in the running for the Golden Glove this season until Ederson took him over in the last few games at City. There's a reason why he's in the England squad. There's a reason why Chelsea are linked with him. I think Nick Pope gets all the praise that he deserves because he's a fantastic goalkeeper. So yeah, I'd say that kind of equalises itself, that opinion. Swearban has said, Juve no longer care about Serie A, seeing their recent performances line up similar to Liverpool. They've dropped a few players recently, Juventus. To say they don't care is such a throwaway comment in the life of a professional footballer. It's so easy to say, they lost, they don't care. Like, I'm really sure that's not the case. They are still professionals at the end of the day. And they've also, unlike Liverpool, got a Champions League to contend with, starting with the second leg against Lyon, as we mentioned. Anyway, moving on. Udit has said, what do you think about Xavi managing Barcelona next season? You're right in the next season bit. You're right in the next season because I think the presidential elections at Barca are happening and they will come into effect from, I think it's June next year, maybe July the 1st. Xavi has said he would work under a new regime, providing the candidate he wants wins. That's all fine. At the moment, he's not going to, but it would make no sense for Xavi to come back to Barca. They really are facing a massive transitional season. I think if they don't get the kind of deals they want done in this transfer window done, which at the moment Bartomeu is saying it's pretty much impossible to get any sort of interesting moves done, they will struggle next season as they rely ever more on Messi. They don't get rid of some of the older players in their squad. They might struggle next season, but regardless, it's a good thing for Xavi to come back, I think. I think he'll learn a lot whilst managing Barcelona, and especially he's kind of given a bit of a grace period. It's not like he's taking over the best team Barcelona have ever had and he has to produce results. Like, realistically, he's going to be cut a bit of slack as a former player, a former legend, and someone early on in his coaching career. There might not be the expectation on him to produce the results that the likes of Setien and whoever else have got on them. Because he is one of their own. And you'd like to think, this isn't necessarily going to happen, you'd like to think Barca would give him a little bit more time to kind of find his feet and certainly put together a good squad that's capable of progressing and in 2 or 3 years' time could be brilliant again. Think of all the good Barcelona youngsters under the mentality and the know-how of Xavi, and then progressing in 2 or 3 years' time. Barca could be great again. Brian Enner said, unpopular opinion, Sheffield United are a flash in the pan and will probably finish mid-table next season. They finished mid-table this season. They finished 9th. I don't think they have the quality to continue to do well. Well, they've got the quality to finish mid-table this season, so why can't they finish mid-table next season? I mean, yeah, second season syndrome is a thing in the Premier League. Wolves kind of dispelled that theory a little bit. Saying that a relegated side come up, do well, a promoted side come up, do well, and then become relegation candidates in their second season. I think Sheffield United do have the quality to continue to do well. They will need to make some signings to improve over the course of the season. I think a few injuries haven't really helped them towards the back end of the campaign. But a flash in the pan, I wouldn't necessarily say so. I think 9th is about right for them. If they can continue with another top half finish, that'd be pretty good going for them next season. Last but not least, Luis PKs has said, Benjamin Mendy is one of the best left backs in the league. He has a great cross and most of the time he's good defensively, but people who just watch the highlights say he's bad because they only see a bit of his game. I mean, if the highlights are bad, they're not really highlights, so I don't know who's cutting those videos together on YouTube. The problem I have with Benjamin Mendy is he's just not fit. He is not fit enough for a consistent enough portion of the season. And there comes to a point where you could say, oh, this guy's good, but he's injured. But when he's playing is great. Great when he's playing, but if he's not, after a certain time, you're like, well, mate, you've kind of got to start showing it. You can't just rely on what you did and then start showing it. The same thing, I think, with Ousmane Dembele. Everyone's saying, oh, he could be this, he could be that. Great, start doing it. He's obviously unfortunate with the injuries, but you need to actually start doing it to kind of back up what people are saying. And then the same thing goes for Benjamin Mendy. If he really wants to be one of the best left backs in the league and in Europe, he kind of needs to put in these performances consistently. And again, not blaming someone for getting injured, but that kind of is the story of a lot of careers and a lot of what could have been, let's say. Anyway, that is all from TFW this week. Thank you so much for watching and for leaving all of your opinions. As always, every Sunday night in the YouTube community tab is where you can leave your opinions on the relevant post, asking for all of them. And it's that weird sort of crazy TFW graphic, which some of you may not seem too happy about. Anyway, we'll look into that for next week. That's all from me, as I mentioned before. Let me know your comments down below in the comment section, including the 5 defenders better than Virgil van Dijk. And until next week, I will see you guys later.